The night the city swallowed Briana Aguilera's scream, the air felt heavier than usual, as if it already knew what was about to happen. The wind rushed between the tall buildings, slicing through the silence as if carrying a message no one could understand. Lights flickered across downtown, neon signs flashing over the wet streets where taxis, late-night workers, and shadows moved like ghosts. Up above, on the 17th floor of the old Marlin Towers, a figure stood dangerously close to the edge, breathing fast, trembling, and trapped between fear and fate. A woman's voice sliced through the cold night. "Stay away from me. Don't come closer." It was Briana. Her words cracked like splintering glass, echoing across the rooftop. She was young, barely in her 20s, dressed in a red top that fluttered in the wind like a torn flag. Her eyes, wide, terrified, desperate, were fixed on the man standing only a few feet away from her. The dim rooftop lights cast long, uneven shadows of both their figures, warping them into something monstrous. The man didn't step closer, but he didn't step back either. "Briana, listen to me," he said, voice low but shaking. "You're misunderstanding everything." "Liar," she cried, pointing at him with trembling hands. "You tricked me. You pretended, you let me believe you were someone else." A gust of wind pushed her hair back, and for a second she looked even more fragile, balancing on fear alone. The man lifted his hands slowly, palms open, as if trying to calm her down. "I didn't push you," he whispered. "I'm trying to help you." "You're not Raphael," she hissed, her voice shattered and steeped in betrayal. The man flinched. Her words hit him like a bullet. He took a step back, not toward her but away, as if letting her breathe. But that single movement, that tiny shuffle, was misunderstood. Briana jerked, stumbled, and her heels slipped on the wet concrete. "No," the man shouted, lunging forward. But gravity was faster. Her scream ripped through the air. For a moment her body hung weightless, suspended between life and death, and then it plunged downward, crashing into the cold sidewalk below with a sickening thud that silenced the entire street. People screamed. Cars stopped. Someone yelled for help. Someone else vomited. The city lights flickered as if blinking away the horror. 17 floors above the chaos, the man stood frozen, staring at the empty space where she had been. His chest rose and fell rapidly, breath caught in panic. His hands trembled violently. The world around him blurred. Then he did the only thing his terrified mind could think of. He ran. Down the stairwell, through the shadows, out the back exit of the building. Breathing hard. Heart tearing through his ribs. Clothes soaked in the adrenaline of guilt he didn't deserve, but couldn't deny. Meanwhile, another set of footsteps echoed down the alley behind the building. A woman in a leather jacket, badge hidden under the coat, stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the crowd forming around the sidewalk. Detective Sara Lopez had seen dozens of crime scenes, but nothing prepared her for the way Briana's body lay twisted, broken, and brutally still under the harsh glow of the street lamps. Blood trickled from the back of her head, running in thin red lines across the pavement. Her eyes were half open, glazed over, looking at a sky she would never see again. A witness rushed toward Sara. She fell. From up there, the woman pointed upward, shaking uncontrollably. "I heard her scream and then, God, she just hit the ground." Sara swallowed hard, forcing back her emotions. She crouched near the body, carefully observing. There were no signs of hesitation on Briana's face, no peace, no acceptance. She looked terrified. Terrified people don't jump. They're pushed. Or chased. Or trapped. Sara stood up, eyes narrowing as she scanned the rooftop. Something inside her whispered that this wasn't a simple accident. It wasn't suicide. It was something else, something darker. Her partner, Officer Dennis Alvarez, arrived moments later, breathless and annoyed as always. "What do we have?" he barked, pulling gloves over his hands. "Female, early 20s, Sara said quietly. "Witnesses say she fell from the rooftop." "Jumped?" Sara shook her head. "Doesn't feel like a jump." Alvarez rolled his eyes. "Feel like or know for sure? We're not writing novels here. Just facts." Sara didn't respond. Her instincts were sharper than any report. And something was wrong. She looked up again, staring at the rooftop. The railing up there was low. Too low. And recent footprints would still be fresh if someone had been close to the edge. "I'm going up," she said, already moving toward the elevator. "Of course you are," Alvarez muttered. When Sara reached the 17th floor, the rooftop door was slightly ajar. That alone was suspicious. These doors usually stayed locked. She pushed it open slowly and stepped onto the windy surface. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing footprints, 2 sets. One smaller, likely Briana's. One larger, male. And then she saw something else. A phone. Cracked, screen shattered, but still buzzing with notifications. Sa picked it up. The last unsent message read, "Raphael, please tell me the truth. I deserve the truth." Sa's stomach knotted. Raphael. She knew that name. The whole city did. Rafael Cortez, the struggling actor, famous for the wrong reasons, tangled in scandals and rumors. A man whose life was always on the edge. Suddenly the pieces began to shift. Briana didn't fall. She wasn't alone. Someone was with her. And that someone might be Raphael himself, or someone pretending to be him. Sa tightened her grip on the phone. The rooftop suddenly felt heavier, like it was holding secrets soaked into its concrete. A faint sound behind her snapped her out of her thoughts. A door closing. Someone had been watching. Sa spun around, but the rooftop was empty. Or at least it seemed to be. Her heart pounded. She moved toward the door, but the stairwell was silent. Whoever was here had escaped moments before. She cursed under her breath and hurried downstairs. By the time she reached the street again, paramedics had already covered Briana's body with a sheet. The crowd was bigger. Cameras flashed. Voices blurred into a single overwhelming noise. But Sa didn't look at them. She looked at the rooftop, at the story that had just begun. Hours later, in the police station, Rafael Cortez sat against the peeling paint of an interrogation room. Hands shaking. Eyes red. Shirt stained with tears and sweat. "I didn't kill her," he whispered again and again. "I didn't push her. I wasn't even close." But Sa knew he wasn't lying, not completely. He wasn't the killer. But he wasn't innocent either. He was hiding something, something that could change everything. Sa leaned forward slowly. Raphael, who was on the rooftop with her? Raphael froze. For a moment, his silence said more than words. In his eyes, Sa saw guilt, not of murder, but of fear. A fear tied to a shadow she hadn't seen yet. But it was there. Waiting. Watching. Chapter 1 ended with more questions than answers. A dead girl. A runaway shadow. A man broken by secrets. A detective who refused to walk away. And somewhere, in the dark corners of the city, the truth waited silently, hungry to be found. The rain began just after sunrise, thin and cold, painting the city in a dull gray wash. Detective Sa Lopez sat alone in her car outside the police station, watching raindrops slide down the windshield like tears waiting to fall. She hadn't slept since Briana hit the pavement. The image of her twisted body kept replaying in her mind like a cruel loop she couldn't escape. She exhaled slowly and stepped out. Inside the precinct, chatter buzzed like static, officers shuffling files, phones ringing, coffee being poured. But when Sa walked in, the noise dimmed slightly, as if everyone could feel the storm she was carrying. Officer Alvarez spotted her immediately. He walked over with his usual irritated expression, though beneath it, Sa sensed a flicker of concern he'd never admit. "Long night?" he asked. "Longer than usual," she replied. He handed her a folder. Medical Examiner's Preliminary Report on Briana Aguilera. Sa flipped through the pages quickly. Bruising on her arms, likely from being grabbed. Scrapes on her palms, consistent with struggle. Adrenaline spike indicated by her blood chemistry, fear, panic, fight or flight. "She didn't jump," Sa murmured. "Or she panicked," Alvarez countered. "People do stupid things when they're scared." Maybe. But this wasn't suicide or an accident. Someone was with her. Alvarez clicked his pen irritably. "Rafael Cortez. You think it's him?" Sa didn't look up. "I think he knows who it is." Before Alvarez could argue, the interrogation room door opened and Rafael was led out by a junior officer. His face was drained of color, lips trembling as if every breath hurt. When his eyes met Sa's, there was a silent plea, one she wasn't ready to answer. "Detective," he whispered, stepping closer. "Please? I need to talk to you." Alvarez stepped between them. "Save it. You're not cleared to speak without legal counsel." Rafael ignored him. His gaze remained on Sa, raw and frightened. "I didn't go up there with her," he said shakily. "I swear to you. She called me earlier that night but I never made it to the building." "Then why was her final message to you?" Sa asked calmly. Rafael swallowed hard, panic tightening his throat. Because she thought I was lying to her. But I wasn't. She thought the wrong person was me." Alvarez scoffed. "So now there are two of you?" Don't make up stupid stories. Raphael hesitated, voice dropping to a whisper. There is someone who looks like me. Enough to confuse someone in the dark. Sarah's spine straightened. There. A crack in the wall of lies. Who? She asked sharply. Raphael's shoulders sagged. I can't say. I'm not supposed to. Sarah stepped forward, lowering her voice. Not supposed to, or too scared to. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Before she could press further, the precinct doors swung open and two men in suits entered, district attorneys. They spoke briefly with Alvarez and then approached Raphael. Mr. Cortez, one of them said coldly, you're being formally detained pending further investigation. You have the right to remain silent. Raphael's breathing hitched. Wait, no, please. I didn't push her. Sarah clenched her jaw, anger rising like heat. This wasn't right. Raphael wasn't innocent, but he wasn't a killer. Someone else was pulling the strings. As he was escorted away, Raphael called out desperately. Detective. Please, find the man on the rooftop. He'll come for me too. Those words carved themselves into Sarah's mind like a knife. Hours later, Sarah drove to Briana's apartment complex, a small, neat building near the river. The hallway smelled like detergent and old wood. Briana's door was sealed with a police sticker, which Sarah peeled back gently. Inside, the place was tidy but lived in. Books stacked on a table, candles half burned, clothes folded neatly. A girl with dreams. A girl who didn't fit the profile of someone who'd jump off a building. Sarah found Briana's laptop on the desk. It was password locked, but a sticky note hidden under the keyboard read. Stop lying. I know what you're involved in. Sarah felt a chill. Whatever Briana discovered, it got her killed. She searched further, drawers, closets, shelves, until she found a small notebook hidden beneath Briana's mattress. The last few entries were frantic, scratched with pressure. He's not the man he says he is. Someone is pretending to be Raphael. If something happens to me, look for the rooftop. I saw him watching us. Saw who? Sarah closed the notebook, but her heart raced. The shadow on the rooftop wasn't random. He had history with Briana. And maybe, with Raphael too. Just then, her phone buzzed. A text from the forensics team. Detective, you need to come back to the station. We found new camera footage. Sarah rushed back. In the surveillance room, a large monitor displayed grainy footage from a security camera across the street from the Marlin Towers rooftop entrance. Watch this, the technician said. The footage showed Briana arriving at the building around 10:07 p.m., looking upset. She entered through the side door. At 10:10 p.m., another figure entered, tall, wearing a dark hoodie, face hidden. Sarah leaned closer. Pause. Zoom. The technician zoomed in on the man's hands. Large. Calloused. A small scar across the knuckles. Sarah's eyes widened. She had seen those hands before, in old interview clips, in stunt videos. That's not Raphael, she whispered. That's Raphael's stunt double. Alvarez raised an eyebrow. He has a stunt double? Everyone knows him. Looks like Raphael from a distance. Performs dangerous shots for movies and ads. Alvarez scratched his chin. And why the hell would he be with Briana? Sarah didn't answer. She knew why. Because Briana thought he was Raphael. But the bigger question was, why did he run? Why was he there at all? And who was he so scared of? Sarah stared at the shadowy silhouette on the screen. The man's posture, the stiffness in his shoulders, the quick glance over his left shoulder before entering the building. He wasn't going there alone, she murmured. He was being followed. Alvarez frowned. By who? Sarah glanced at the second camera angle, the one capturing the sidewalk. A second shadow appeared behind the stunt double. Darker. Taller. Watching. Following him quietly into the building. He wasn't the killer, Sarah said. He was running from someone too. Alvarez blinked. And Briana got caught between them. Sarah nodded, jaw tightening. That means the real threat is still out there. Before they could analyze further, a sudden alert blared from the hallway. Officers rushed toward the holding cells. Sarah and Alvarez followed, and what they saw made Sarah's blood turn cold. Rafael Cortez, who had been detained minutes ago, was unconscious on the floor of his cell, bleeding from a head wound, pulse fading fast. Someone had tried to kill him. Inside the station. Under their noses. Alvarez whispered, stunned, what the hell? Sarah didn't feel shock. She felt certainty. "This isn't just a murder case," she said through clenched teeth. "This is a cover-up. Someone wants every witness dead." She turned toward the exit, her mind already racing ahead. And somewhere in the city, the shadow from the rooftop watched the police station from across the street, his hood dripping from the rain. He stood motionless, hands in his pockets, waiting, studying, planning. The game had just begun. And he wasn't afraid to spill more blood. The night felt heavier than usual, almost suffocating. The echo of Raphael's words replayed in Detective Maria's mind like a haunting loop. She changed, all week she changed. But the problem was deeper than just change. Her instincts screamed that someone had been pulling the strings behind Briana's behavior, someone smart, cautious, and invisible. As Maria drove back from the hospital, the city lights blurred past her windshield. LA was alive with its usual chaos, cars speeding, neon signs flickering, late-night crowds drifting along sidewalks. But Maria felt like she was moving through a completely different world, a world carved by lies, secrets, and shadows. She had one goal now: retrace Briana's last 7 days. And the first step was her apartment. Maria parked outside Briana's building. It was a worn, faded place, gray walls, rusted balconies, dark corners where light rarely reached. A place that held stories no one wanted to hear. She flashed her badge at the night guard, who immediately straightened. "I need access to Briana Aguilera's apartment," she said. He nodded nervously. "3rd floor. I'll unlock it for you." As she stepped inside, a cold stillness wrapped around her. The apartment was neat, almost too neat. Not like a young woman living alone, but like a staged room. As if someone wanted to erase traces. Maria walked slowly, letting her eyes scan every detail. A pair of earrings left on the counter. A half-burnt scented candle. A jacket thrown on the chair. But something felt deeply off. She checked the bedroom first. The bed was made. No signs of struggle. No diary. No laptop. Strange. Then she opened the closet. That's where she froze. Inside, the clothes were neatly arranged, except for one detail, an empty hanger in the center. A very specific hanger. Shiny, metal, and oddly new. As if someone had recently taken something from it. A dress? A jacket? Maria touched the hanger. Slightly warm. Meaning someone had been here after Briana died. Her pulse spiked. She quickly stepped into the living room and noticed something she previously missed: scratches near the door lock. Tiny but present. A break-in. And whoever it was, they knew exactly what they were looking for. "What were you hiding, Briana?" Maria whispered. She took out her phone, snapped photos of the hinge, the scratches, and the hanger. Then she moved to the kitchen. Nothing unusual. But when she opened the lower cabinet, she found something odd wedged behind the trash bin, a small black USB drive wrapped in tape. Now her heart kicked hard. "Got you." She slipped on gloves, picked it up, and pocketed it immediately. USB drives and crime scenes rarely meant anything innocent. Someone wanted this hidden. And likely someone else wanted it gone. She decided she would open it only at the station. As she was leaving, she felt a strange sensation, like someone watching her. She stopped. Turned around. Silence. Empty hall. Blank walls. But her instincts screamed danger. She left the building, but even outside, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was trailing her movements. Back at the station, Maria placed the USB on her desk, plugged it into a secure system, and waited. One file. A single video. She clicked. The footage was grainy. Recorded secretly. Maybe from a phone kept inside a bag or pocket. But what it showed made Maria's entire body stiffen. Briana, arguing with someone. Not Raphael. Not a friend. Someone older. Someone powerful. Someone whose face was half hidden in shadows. The man spoke first. His voice was low, threatening. "If you open your mouth about this, I promise you won't be safe. You think people care about you? They don't. They never have." Briana's voice trembled. "I don't want any trouble. I just want my life back. That's it." The man slammed his hand on the table. "You're in deeper than you think. You belong to us now." Maria leaned forward. "Us? A group? A criminal network?" The man leaned closer to Briana, and the light briefly hit his face. Maria paused the video, zoomed in. Her eyes widened. She knew this man. He was connected to 2 previous cases: extortion, illegal parties, blackmail, but he always walked free. No one ever had proof. Until now. And Briana was trying to escape him. Maria rewound. The video continued. Briana, crying, whispered. "If anything happens to me, they'll know it was you." The man laughed. "No one will ever know." Click. The video ended. Silence swallowed the room. It all made sense now. The change in Briana's behavior. The fear. The rooftop visit. The secret meetups. The missing dress or jacket. The break-in. She wasn't unstable. She wasn't suicidal. She wasn't careless. She was running. From someone deadly. Someone who now had every reason to silence her. Maria grabbed her jacket. She needed to talk to Briana's mother immediately. If anyone knew the changes Briana went through in her final days, it was her. When Maria reached Briana's mother's home, she found the older woman sitting near the living room window, staring blankly at the street outside. Her eyes were swollen from endless crying. Maria sat beside her. "Mrs. Aguilera. I need to ask something important. Did Briana mention anyone bothering her? Anyone threatening her?" The mother's lips quivered. "Yes, but she played it down. Said it was nothing. But she wasn't herself these past days. She jumped at small noises. She barely ate. She hardly slept. I knew something was wrong." Maria gently placed her hand on hers. "Did she give any names?" Mrs. Aguilera hesitated. Then whispered. "There was someone, she called him the man in the gray jacket. She said he was dangerous. That he followed her everywhere." Maria's blood ran cold. Gray jacket. Just like the man in the video. Did she ever describe him? Maria asked. "Yes," her mother said shakily. "Tall, calm voice, but eyes full of darkness." Maria nodded. This matched perfectly. She said if anything ever happened to her, her mother continued, that it wouldn't be an accident. Maria took a long breath. This was no suicide. No accident. This was the work of someone powerful, experienced, and ruthless. Someone who wasn't finished yet. Because if he knew Briana recorded him, he'd come after the evidence next. And Maria had it. Suddenly Maria's phone buzzed. "Unknown number." She answered. "Detective Maria." A calm male voice replied. "I hope you're not digging too deeply into Briana's case." Maria's heart froze. It was him. The man in the gray jacket. Her voice stayed steady. "And why is that?" "Because," he said softly, "you might not like what you find. And I would hate to see you end up the same way she did." Maria ended the call slowly, her mind racing. This wasn't just a case anymore. This was a war. And the enemy had just introduced himself. The quiet after the phone call felt suffocating. Detective Maria sat frozen for several seconds, staring at her reflection in the dark screen of her phone. The voice of the man in the gray jacket still echoed in her mind, calm, chilling, confident. Threats didn't usually intimidate her, but this one felt different. This man wasn't bluffing. He knew Briana. He knew her movements. He probably knew Maria's too. Her breathing steadied as she forced herself back into the present. Fear was a luxury she couldn't afford. Not now. Not when Briana's killer was finally stepping into the light. Maria thanked Mrs. Aguilera and hurried out of the house, her senses sharper than ever. The street outside was quiet, too quiet. A single car drove past, headlights slicing through the darkness, but Maria didn't miss the black sedan parked across the road. Its windows were tinted deep, hiding everything. Her instincts screamed danger. But she didn't turn back. She got in her car, locked it, and quietly pulled away. For the next several minutes, she drove without speaking, eyes flicking to her mirrors. 2 streets later, the same black sedan appeared behind her, keeping distance but never losing her. So he was watching her already. Good. Let him watch. Let him think she was predictable. She turned onto the freeway, increased her speed, then slipped into an exit at the last moment. The sedan followed again, reacting just a little too late. That told Maria something important. They weren't expecting her to fight back. She parked in an underground garage connected to the station. The sedan stopped at the entrance, waited a moment, and then drove away slowly. They didn't dare enter police territory. Not yet. Maria went straight inside and called her captain, explaining everything, the USB drive, the video, the threat. The captain looked troubled. "We've been chasing this man for years," he said. "No ID. No prints. No real name. They call him the broker. He runs high-end blackmail operations. Rich clients. Powerful clients. His victims are never random. And they never survive." Maria clenched her jaw. And Briana got caught in his web. She was probably useful to him. Until she wasn't. Maria felt a wave of anger building inside her, sharp as a blade. "Captain, I have enough to bring him in." The captain sighed. "You have suspicion. But you need evidence that will stand. The video is strong, but we need context. Proof he was with her the night she died. And witnesses, if there are any left." Maria nodded. "Then I'll find them." But the captain grabbed her arm. "And Maria, watch your back. The broker doesn't threaten people unless he's already planned their exit." She didn't flinch. Let him try. The next morning, Maria reviewed the rooftop footage again. The images were grainy, distorted by the angle and the poor lighting, but something caught her eye for the first time, a shadow at the far end of the rooftop, barely moving. Someone else was there. Not Raphael. Not Briana. A third figure. Hidden. Almost invisible. Maria zoomed in. The figure was tall, wearing something that looked like a jacket. A gray jacket. Her heart jumped. That meant he was there. He didn't just threaten Briana, he watched her die. Or made it happen. Maria recorded the enhanced clip, sent it to her team, and accelerated her investigation. They cross-referenced building access logs, nearby cameras, and street footage. It took hours, but finally, something surfaced. At 10:04 p.m., just minutes before Briana died, a man entered the building through a side door with a broken camera. He kept his head down, moved quickly, and avoided the lobby. The broker. But the best part? He left a fingerprint on the stair railing. A perfect match with a partial print found at a previous crime scene. Maria felt electricity rush through her. They finally had him. Evening, the setup. They couldn't simply arrest the broker. He had eyes everywhere. The moment he sensed trouble, he would vanish into whatever hole he crawled out of. So Maria developed a trap, one that forced him into the open. First, she sent a message through an untraceable channel, a message she knew would reach him. "I have the full video. Meet me. Midnight. Pierce Street rooftop. Come alone." Then she shut down her phone, removed the battery, and waited. It was risky. Dangerous. Maybe even reckless. But it was the only way. She knew the broker wouldn't resist the bait. He hated loose ends. And Maria had become the biggest loose end of his career. Midnight, the final rooftop. The rooftop was dark, wind whispering around Maria like a warning. She wore her bulletproof vest and kept her gun holstered. Backup was positioned several buildings away. Far enough not to scare him. Close enough to intervene. Minutes passed. Then she felt it, a presence behind her. "You shouldn't have come alone," a familiar voice said. Maria turned slowly. He stood near the edge, calm as ever, hands in the pockets of his gray jacket. His smile was polite, almost warm. "The broker. You killed her," Maria said. "I didn't kill anyone," he replied softly. "People kill themselves with their choices. She was trying to escape you. Everyone tries to escape until they remember who really owns their secrets." Maria stepped closer. "She recorded you. She had evidence. And I erased it." "No," Maria said. "You didn't." She lifted her chin confidently. "Because the video you stole from her apartment was a decoy. I planted it." She smirked. "And I knew you'd fall for it." For the first time, his expression cracked. A flicker of surprise. A spark of anger. Then the sound of heavy footsteps echoed. Her entire team emerged from the shadows. The broker's confidence drained slowly, replaced by a cold realization. "You planned this," he whispered. "Yes," Maria said. "From the moment you called me." He reached for something in his jacket, maybe a knife, maybe a gun, but Maria was faster. The shot echoed across the rooftop. He staggered back, clutching his shoulder, and collapsed to the ground. Officers swarmed in, cuffing him as he hissed in pain. Maria looked down at him with the quiet satisfaction of a hunter finally catching the predator that stalked her city. "It's over," she said. He glared at her. "For now. But shadows always grow back." "Then I'll be waiting." They dragged him away. 2 days later, Maria visited Briana's grave. The sky was cloudy, wind gentle. She placed flowers on the headstone and whispered, "You didn't die for nothing. Your story ended, but your truth didn't." Briana's mother stood beside her, tears in her eyes but gratitude in her heart. "Thank you," she whispered. Maria nodded softly. "This was my job." "No," the mother said. "This was your courage." Maria stayed quiet. Maybe it was both. As she walked back to her car, Her phone buzzed. A new message. No number. Just one line. You caught one of us. But the others are still watching. Maria froze. The war wasn't over. Not even close. But she smiled slightly, slipped her phone into her pocket, and whispered. Let them watch. Then she drove away, into the next case, the next fight, the next shadow. Because justice never sleeps. And neither would she.